the present. Marissa Shields in the building.
Jake Paul, it's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here.
All right, strap up, because we're plunging deep into some incredibly insane stuff that's shaking up the fight world, and believe me, you're gonna want to hear every word of this. Andrew Tate, yes, that Andrew Tate, has just disclosed some of the most odd information.
Who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living fuck out of you.
Information concerning Jake Paul's fight contract that you could possibly conceive. If you thought the combat game was only about throwing punches, think again. Behind the scenes, it's a whole circus of discussions, secret provisions, and let's just say, some very weird requests. So, let's break it all down and get into the juicy facts. First off, let's establish the scene. Andrew Tate, the controversial but indisputably influential kickboxer and social media figure, has been making waves in the fight scene. And when it comes to Jake,
he's fighting a 57-year-old champ now. What's
58.
58. Don't want to take a year away from you, Mike.
He's fighting a guy that's almost 60 years old, and you know what I mean. I mean, that says it all. That says it all. There's nothing else that needs to be said. That's his shtick. That's his thing. He fights guys that are old.
Paul, the YouTuber turned boxing sensation. Tate's name has been connected to possible bouts and angry discussions, but this new twist? It's a whole other level. Tate recently went on a tirade, releasing what he says are intimate facts of Jake Paul's bout contracts. And let me tell you, it's not just about money, oh no. We're talking wacky restrictions.
Usually undersized guys, older, undersized guys. But he's fighting Tyson here. And him and Tyson are going to make a shitload of money.
A bunch of money.
That'll have you scratching your head. Now, according to Tate, the contracts Jake Paul sends out to his opponents aren't your run-of-the-mill agreements. Apparently, these contracts come with some pretty strange clauses. For starters, Tate believes that there's a rule prescribing the precise weight each combatant must hit down to the ounce. And although weight limitations are typical in combat sports, this pushes things to an obsessive level. Fighters are allegedly fined enormous sums if they so much as drink water before stepping on the scale. It's like a weigh-in Hunger Games out here. But wait, it gets much weirder. Tate also alleges there's a section concerning performance restrictions. What does it mean? Well, according to him, Jake Paul's contracts purportedly restrict how aggressively an opponent may fight in the early rounds. Yep, you heard it correctly. If this is true, it might imply combatants are legally compelled to hold back, giving Jake the upper hand to shine for the cameras. Can you imagine walking into the ring, knowing you're not permitted to go all out? That's not just bizarre, it's downright scandalous. And here's the kicker, Tate also spilled the beans on prospective rematch stipulations. Now, rematch clauses aren't uncommon in big money fights. It's a means to assure additional paycheck if the first fight is a hit. But according to Tate, Jake's contracts contain required rematches, even if the fight's result is one-sided. So, if someone knocks Jake out cold, they're still compelled to walk back into the ring for round 2. It's almost as if Jake's staff is pre-planning for damage management. Strategic? Sure. Fair? Debatable. Now, let's confront the elephant in the room. Why would Andrew Tate share these details? Some individuals are thinking it's simply Tate being Tate, stirring the pot and keeping his name in the media. Others say it's his way of calling Jake Paul out, pushing for a battle between the two. After all, both men live on controversy, and a confrontation between them would virtually print money. Whether you love him or loathe him, Tate understands how to play the game, and by exposing these supposed secrets, he's not just throwing shade at Jake Paul, he's casting himself as a fighter who's above these so-called contract games. But here's when things get very hot. Jake Paul's camp hasn't been quiet. After Tate's accusations began making headlines, Jake's team allegedly shot back, calling the charges laughable and completely fabricated. They're sticking to their guns, maintaining their contracts are normal and above board. Of fact, in the world of high-stakes boxing, the truth typically falls somewhere in the middle. But the real issue is, does it really matter? Think about it. Jake Paul has established an empire by becoming the ultimate disruptor. Love him or loathe him, the man understands how to build hype, sell tickets, and keep people talking. Whether Tate's charges are accurate or not, they're merely adding gasoline to the flames. Fans are now much more fascinated by the potential of a Tate versus Paul clash, and if that battle ever occurs, you can guarantee it'll be one of the most watched spectacles in recent history. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's another layer to this narrative that we need to peel back. What do these reported contract specifics imply about the condition of boxing as a whole? Traditionalists have long condemned Jake Paul for turning boxing into what they regard as a show rather than a sport. They contend that these types of contracts, if true, only support the perception that it's more about entertainment than athletics. On the other side, you've got a new generation of fans that are here for the drama, the personalities, and yes, the mayhem. For them, boxing isn't just about technique, it's about narrative. And say what you will, Jake Paul is a brilliant storyteller. So, where does this leave us? Well, it's a classic instance of he said. On one side, you've got Andrew Tate, a contentious character who feeds on controversy and isn't afraid to ruffle feathers. On the other, you've got Jake Paul, a guy who's reimagined what it means to be a boxer in the digital era. Their collision of egos is as combustible as any blow they might unleash in the ring. But let's be honest for a second. Whether these contract specifics are 100% correct or not, they've done precisely what they were likely supposed to do: stir the pot and get people talking. And isn't that what combat sports are all about these days? The battles themselves are simply one aspect of the jigsaw. The actual action occurs in the build-up, the trash talk, and the behind-the-scenes drama. And if nothing else, Andrew Tate has just added another element to the spectacle that is Jake Paul's boxing career. So, here's the million-dollar question: will we ever see Andrew Tate and Jake Paul face battle in the ring? As of now, it's anyone's guess. But one thing's for sure: if it does happen, it'll be nothing short of a cultural phenomenon. And you better know we'll be right here, breaking it all down for you. Stay tight, guys, because the battle game just got a whole lot more intriguing.